Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka back with another Twitter thread. Today we're talking about Master Rule 6. So for those of you who aren't familiar, at Jump Festa every year, Konami usually updates the game in a really big way. This year, they didn't, and honestly, that's for the best. The game is in a good place, and it's already complex enough. We don't need another Master Rule, another summoning mechanic, another thing for new players to look at and say, this is what ruined Yu-Gi-Oh! Forever. But if we were to make a Master Rule 6, what do you think it would look like? I've got an idea. I would like red monsters in the extra deck, one of the only colors we have not used for a monster border, and it would just be every type of monster that has a weird summoning condition, but is right now one of the other summoning types. Things like Masked Hero Darklaw, which is a fusion monster without material, or Ultimaya Zolkin, which is a synchro monster without levels. These could go a long way in simplifying the game for newer players who want to feel like Xyz, synchro, and fusion actually mean something rather than just the color of the fun little boss monster. I'd more easily imagine not so much a rule change, but a process of cleaning up and documenting more rules that have been weird and up in the air so far, like what they did here with damage calc, and what they should do with, say, mandatory quick effects. For what it's worth, this product already exists, and it's Rush Duels. They don't even fucking have Chain Link 2. I want Master Rule 6 to put the field spell zone next to the EMZ, and both players can use them like a U-Link, but without needing the arrows. First player to fill up both field spell zones just gets both by Finally, 2 generator boss stage! Rather than a new mechanic, I'd like to see a difference in how the extra deck works. Rather than 15 cards total becoming 15 names, but if you want to run multiple of a name, you can. You can run 15 different monsters. Would be interesting to see a change in how the side deck works. This is an interesting position. At the moment, it's a way to tech for matchups in the games 2 and 3, but I think there'd be big gameplay decisions if it were more interactable. If you could put your Garnets there, or for a steep cost, you could search it. Burning Wish, Burning Wish, Burning Wish. You get 1 no per duel. If your opponent attempts to activate a card effect, you can just refuse and your opponent can't respond. There are other balancing changes I would like to see more than a new mechanic or a rule change, though I feel like something that would make the battle phase matter would be great to see. Even as far as adopting Duel Link's speed duel rules since no MP2 or lower life points. It is frustrating that right now the battle phase is either a foregone conclusion because you're about to win the game, or it's a mechanism to turn all of your monsters into removal spells before continuing your combo. It would be a lot better if, like, the battle phase did something. Make a new kind of spell or trap card. I don't care what it does. I just want a new funny little symbol. Why are you trying to make my collection of the symbol dice completely obsolete? Hand traps that you can activate from the extra deck. Maybe they can only be used for that, or maybe they can also be summoned. The goal is to slow down the game by giving guaranteed access to defensive cards you have to burn through to win. I'm going to tell you right now, the #1 thing you do not want in your card game is for both players to start the game with multiple force of will. Removal of one of the pendulum zones. I will not elaborate. That's Junior Journey. I've thought of making every extra deck summon not be a special summon, unless specified otherwise. What I mean is it would not be considered a special summon, just a fusion, synchro, Xyz summon. Not sure about the implications, but it sounds okay. I understand that you are cooking. I am wondering who you are trying to feed. The extra monster zone. There is only one in the middle of the field. Both players are allowed to summon it as long as it is empty and you have a monster in one of the extra monster zones. Then you make extra deck boss monsters that have effects while in the extra monster zone. Okay, we are just circling the drain. We are literally circling it. The drain is the EEMZ. Back when pendulums were just a rumor, I remember the community thinking they'd be a red extra deck monster that turned its material into face-up spell cards and that could gain effects on the field or be redeployed as monsters. That actually is kind of sick. It's so funny when they're like, we're making pendulums, and the players are like, are they like this? And they go, no, but that's a much better idea. You can no longer use tokens for Link summoning. Why were you ever allowed to use tokens for Link summoning? Stop removing cheese. This is a lactose intolerant stream, motherfucker. Spell trap attributes are redundant. It would be nice to see new spell traps mixed in with monster attributes. You could have support for dark spells or fire cards. Oh, that's a cool idea. We need a different win condition. Destroying monsters by battle or something. Life points are too low. Every deck can put out 10k damages with their normal combo. Life points are functionally meaningless. Peeps, absolutely correct. When have life points mattered? Ridiculous time shenanigans and nothing else. When links were first revealed, the community incorrectly thought they'd slow the game down by forcing you to go through an extra hoop before summoning extra deck monsters. Hyper link decks changed that, so what if you could only link summon once per turn? The resolution of this problem was just to never print fucking generic links. Back when, like, the best we could hope for was a link that could be made with 2 Earth monsters and Mrs. Radiant, it wasn't that bad. But as soon as they started printing 2 monsters, They got to, you know, throw their hands up in surprise as all the nightmares broke the game immediately. Honeybot is too strong. There was a time when we thought that. There was legitimately a time where we were like, wow, this Honeybot has the potential to be really broken. It'll never happen because of Xtrav and a bunch of other reasons, but I would like to see a reduction of the size of the extra deck. I think that lowering to 6 would remove problematic staples, weaken combo decks, and allow for mid-range decks and on extra deck strats to thrive. This is Dragon Maid's strongest soldier, folks. Maybe not 6, but I'd like to see 10. Floodgates become their own card type, and like field spells, you can only have one at a time. That's not a bad idea. Increase the minimum deck size. Close to every deck tries to play an ultra-consistent basis, but if you have to play 10 extra cards, combo has more irrelevant pieces. I'm going to be real with you. I think unless you change it to 80, that's not going to impact anything. Judgment Arrow! I really want Judgment Arrows to be printed, even if it's just this card. Even print one that's not legal to play in a duel. I want this card so fucking bad. Why do we not have it? They're introducing a mulligan for your starting hand, and the new extra deck type is going to have a gray border and requires you to add monsters to a new zone next to the graveyard and banish zone to use for summons. I hope that this person is actually leaking it, because they're talking definitively like it is happening. It might be a ruling nightmare, but let the players decide which zones are for monsters and which are for spells and traps. If you want, you could play 10 monsters. Okay, I'm playing Wind Up. Union monsters should be half monster, half spell, like pendulums, minus the scales, and can be treated either as equip spells or monsters everywhere but the field, where it depends what zones they're in. Oh, Chrono summoning. Instead of using your normal summon, you can summon a Chrono monster, and the strength of the monster depends on your turn count. Oh, that's cool, except we printed a bunch of cards that make the turn count way, way higher, like all those stun cards. We'd have to ban all of those first, but then that's a good idea. I would like to see the game lean heavier into archetypes. Certain powerful cards have restrictions on putting them in your deck. You can only have Phoenix Enforcer in your extra with 5+ heroes in deck, or Maxi with 5+ insects. Okay. Make set monster work like trap. I've seen this a couple of times. The argument that you should be able to flip at instant speed like you would for a trap card. I think that would be sick. And also would really benefit the Tindangler. Monsters will now gain bonuses and debuffs based on their type and attribute to buff lesser known attributes and allow for different types to differentiate themselves. No, we don't need to be doing weakness stuff. I love many people saying it'd be cool if they revamped how rituals are handled so those decks don't feel bad to play. They did. It's every modern ritual deck. I want to be able to attack back row. Why are pendulums both on the left and the right? It seems as if at some point they were going to make a scale with both numbers and they just never did. That's something they could do today. Well, I think at the end of the day, we can say that probably not much needs to be changed from Master Rule 6. Like I said before, this game is hard enough as it is. But one really easy change would just be to give us rush duels, you cowards. See you next time. They'll add Sex Phase, where you assign the sex and gender of your monsters so number 22 Zombiestein knows if they can hit it. It's after main phase 1 and before the battle phase. After battle phase, all monsters' gender and sexuality return default, as in what they have chosen for themselves.